Hello and welcome to the Velodrome Nasional Malaysia. This is the 29th SEA Games track cycling competition. With, several exciting events to whet your appetite for the evening's programme, including the third event of the women's Omnium, the Elimination. We had the tempo and the scratch already take place. The men's team sprint for bronze and gold, and the women's team sprint for bronze and gold will take place in the evening programme. The victory ceremonies interspersed between before the women's Omnium will conclude with a 20-kilometre point race. So an exciting schedule that awaits us at the velodrome that was purpose-built in Nilai. Brand new national velodrome.
So, ladies and gentlemen, spectators, we require you to be silent.
So what we have first up is the Omnium third event for women, the Elimination. Start list confirming the athletes who will do duty, including Hannah Chan of Singapore and Luo Yue. So results so far. Points from the tempo race, 7.5 kilometers. 40 points awarded to the victor. This is the overall results, standings after 2 rounds. Athletes will compete for points. So looking good for Juopa Somnet of Malaysia, who currently leads the way, first place and the second place overall. 3 athletes all level on 5 points. Luo, Chan and Pang. But Somnet of Malaysia currently leads the way, ahead of Nuntana by 4 points, and Priyatna of Indonesia level with Manipin on 72 points. Challenging currently for the medals in the third event. It is anybody's guess as to who will dominate. The Omnium is basically a combination of 4 disciplines, and is the race for effectively the Jack or the Jill of all events, rather than a specialist in one event. So scratch, elimination, tempo, and final points race. Cyclists get underway. So the starter's gun will go, and then off they go. So the elimination, trying to stick in the bunch, and rather than get right near the front, but you don't want to be at the back either in the early stages of the elimination. At the moment, it's the Malaysian who's leading overall, currently tucked into second position on the track. Line. Virtually all in sync here. Focus at the moment is on Priyatna of Indonesia, in third position overall. What you tend to find is endurance cyclists trying to settle into the bunch, trying to surge ahead. Sprinters try to conserve their energy in the pack before breaking in the back end. Wonderful hardwood floor in the velodrome. set up for some rather intriguing cycling without collecting points in this Omnium. Just breaking off the back. At the moment, though, it looks to be a fair-out sprint. Priatna's sitting in a very handy position, so to Sunnet of Malaysia. Only the top two. Nuntana also very much involved. Cyclist Pang of Malaysia sitting in the back of the group currently. Aggressive approach from any one of these cyclists. Let's look at Pang. So leading out the way at the moment is Nur Yi of Singapore, taking the inside track. Currently with 60 points after 2 events in this women's Omnium. Sitting out in front, just biding her time. It's all about tactics in this women's elimination. Just switching turns and trying to get to the front, maintaining good pace. And lead being pointed out by the Commissar, who stands trackside at the start and finish line. In front, Somnet with Montana currently second, and Yue at the back of this trio that'll be collecting further points. Riders from Priatna, Pang, Chan and Manipan out of this elimination. Points on the cards here for Nur Yue of Singapore. Just off the shoulder of the lady who is currently second overall, Nuntana of Thailand. Blue and yellow. Nur Yue, former triathlete as well. Just onto the back wheel. Omnium elimination, using the missing out technique, as they call it, where the utmost rider drops out. The points being awarded according to that. And Dana picks up the maximum 40. And there's Liu Yue of Singapore finishes with a very fine return of 38, moves her overall tally up to 98. Those points will be tallied now after the opening three. So the race for individual honours, a combined event across various disciplines, including scratch elimination and tempo runs. Those three have already been run before the final event will take place later on in this evening program. So not an overly intense sprint for the finish line between a few of the riders that were remaining at the end of that elimination race. And ultimately it was track cycling. No safe place on the track. So what we've got next is the men's team sprint competition, the race for bronze, and then the race for gold will take place immediately after.
Record adalah pembukaan rasmi bagi Elimination wanita. Dia adalah pembukaan in third place it was Someone from Malaysia. Second place, Yue from Singapore, and third place Dana from Thailand. So this is the star list for the bronze medal. Third place up for grabs for Indonesia or Singapore. Singapore. You know, Darren Lowe, Jens Yusuf and Lance Tan doing battle in this men's team sprint. Indonesia, you have Mohamed Nur Fatuni, Hugo Ahmadi and Rino Yura Sensoko. They'll start on opposite sides of this 250-meter track. Here's the Indonesian team. And what we'll have is each cyclist completing one lap at the front before peeling off. The third cyclist will then complete the race. And the first to cross the finish line will be declared the victor. The changeovers, though, often closely scrutinised by the commissars, will be standing on the line.
Let's look back at the men's elimination race. At the back, first to be eliminated. Two different types of elimination race. Sometimes the rider at the front is the one who is eliminated. It's the elimination race where the rider at the back is eliminated. Just adding points to the collection. Montana of Thailand claiming the women's Omnium elimination top points of 40 in 2-point increments from the bottom up, ending up with the top cyclist getting 40. They're preparing now for the men's sprint bronze and gold medal events. The cyclists will start from a standing start. They're just positioning their starting equipment so as the cyclists not to jump the line, false start so to speak. So setting up the starting positions for both Indonesia and Singapore in the battle for third. So Singapore will be on the left of your screen, Indonesia on the right. How they will line up for this bronze medal match is fairly simple. 20 seconds to go to the start. And the athletes will race from opposite sides of the track. So this basically a flat-out sprint to be first to finish after 3 laps. Losing one cyclist per lap. They get away from a standing start Indonesia and Singapore, both battling for the bronze here. Now, each cyclist must complete one lap at the front before peeling off. So they're getting into their positions now from opposite sides of the track. Changeovers are going to be very closely monitored here by the commissars. As the first cyclist breaks off for both these teams. Darren Lowe, Elnas Yusuf and Lance Tan cycling for Singapore. As we head on to the final lap here, the final cyclist breaks away and it's a flat-out sprint for the line. Fatoni, Admani and Sansoko with a final lap for Indonesia. Is Singapore going to do it? Can they claim the bronze medal ahead of Indonesia? Sprint for the line now. Is it going to be Indonesia? I think it's Indonesia who might just have taken a horse. Singapore just disappointing in that final effort, that push for the line. Indonesia looked to have snuck it. Fatoni taking the lead for this Indonesian side. The last cyclist often has the most endurance, but has some real power as well. The last cyclist does a complete 750-meter circuit 3 times around the track, while the leading cyclist only goes flat out for the opening 250. But the importance of getting away from a clean start, a standing start, cannot be underestimated.
Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, acara yang kita tunggu yaitu pertandingan untuk membuat minat emas.
The Indonesians patting one another on the back after this display. So just taking a little opportunity to warm down after it. Disappointment for Singapore. They miss out on the bronze medal here. After a standing start, it's about getting a powerful start breaking onto the track. Indonesia very quickly into their stride. And a good lead being built out by Sansoko. And finished off by Fatoni of Indonesia. Gold medal race, sprint between Malaysia and Thailand. So Malaysia in the all-black outfit. Malaysia's team ethic has been on great display at recent international events. So the race for gold, as it were, is between Malaysia and Thailand. 15 seconds to go. From the starting position, cyclist that will take the lead in the first lap is from a position start. His teammates just need to stick behind him, but the rider that takes the last lap generally has the greatest endurance. Now, it's Thailand in the very colourful blue and yellow up against Malaysia, who are favourites in front of their home crowd to go on and claim the gold. A little break off here and a good sprint to the line for Malaysia. And start on opposite sides of the track, of course. The team that finishes the third lap in the lead is the winner. Now, can they go for it? There's a great deal of hype about this Malaysian team ethic and the work rate of this Malaysian side into the final 100-odd meters of this sprint around the track. Malaysia look well set for gold. They claim the gold well ahead of Thailand, 44.776. Very impressive effort from Rasul, Zonis and Sharin for Malaysia to beat Kampunya, Sianglam and Tapimai into the silver medal position. And Thailand certainly not down and out. They've still got a place on the podium, but they will feel disappointed by that effort. Malaysia completely dominant. Just taking that final lap, Tapimai. Sharin closing out the victory for Malaysia. And Zonis with the flag. He'll celebrate in front of his home crowd, Rasul, as well. A very solid performance from the Malaysians. And cycling in Malaysia has come a great way in recent years. The Tour de Langkawi is a significant event in the UCI calendar. After the host of cyclists from all around the world and professional teams from even Europe have come to race in Malaysia. Just raised the level of cycling in Southeast Asia. Struggling from the standing start, but certainly not the fastest of starts from Thailand. Quickly into their race with Malaysia, and they timed it brilliantly. The changeovers are so important because the leading cyclist can start to break off as long as he crosses the finish line, the start-finish line, before his teammate behind him, because each of the racers need to cross that finish line in first place overall somewhere during the race. One completes 250, one completes 500, and one completes 750 meters of this track. 250 meters around the velodrome. And Malaysia quite comfortably gold medalists. Not disappointing in front of their home fans. Thailand, Bong Tep Tapimai, Satjakul Sianglam and Wurayut Kapunya can console themselves with the silver medal. The Malaysian fans, they would love a few selfies with the cyclists. They are champions. Shariz Effendi, Sharin, Fadil Zonis and Hairil Nizam Rasul. Oh, velodrome absolutely packed for this track event, and delight confirmed. So Singapore, well, they made it through to the bronze medal event, the race for bronze in the team sprint for men. They miss out by 0.2 of a second virtually, as Indonesia claimed bronze. Thailand claimed the silver, and Malaysia confirmed for gold in rather convincing fashion. This is the medal ceremony for the men's team sprint.
The bronze medalist, Indonesia.
Bronze medalists from Indonesia beat Singapore in a flat-out race for gold. Around two tenths of a second separating these teams as the final cyclist crossed the line. Sansoko, Ahmadi and Fatoni each earning themselves bronze medals for their performance. 46.749 seconds to complete the 750 meters. With the final cyclist.
Silver medalist, Thailand.
Although they made it through to the race for gold, they fell short of their ultimate target. And Thailand claim a more than simply creditable silver. Kongtep Tamipei, Sanchakul Tianglam and Urayut Kapunya coming home 45.735 seconds. And the team sprint silver for men. But popular champions in front of their home crowd. Sure, they still have the energy to jump up onto the top tier of the podium. Malaysia celebrate the gold. Haidal Nazim, Rasul, Fadil Zonis and Shariz Fendi Sharin covered the 750 meters for the final cyclist for 44.776 seconds. The victory margin over the Thai team by nearly a full second. And another strong team performance from Malaysia. Champions and gold medalists. Now to hear their national anthem.
Once again, let's give them a big round of applause. Amazing team again, obviously. Malaysia won it 3 times. Malaysia!
Well, a good confident gold medal in front of their home fans. Little tally grows for Malaysia. Eagerly anticipated final, and they lived up to expectation. Malaysia take gold ahead of Thailand, with Indonesia claiming the bronze.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it will be a jumping session with our players.
Next up for the women is the race for bronze in the track team sprint. Thailand and Singapore to do battle for bronze. So Singapore represented by Tana Chan and Lena Joy Liu. Preparing to race against Chanipon Bhatia and Panarai Rasi. So similar to the sprint event that you've just seen for the men, bar the fact that there are 2 teams. The race features 2 rider teams, and it's raced over 2 laps from opposite sides of the track. The team rider that takes the last lap. And race with the endurance you would suspect. With Bhatia and Rasi taking on Chan and Liu of Singapore. And Chan has got a very tough schedule. She's racing in the Omnium, 3 events down already. It's a race in the earlier preliminary, which saw Singapore and Thailand get themselves into the race for bronze. Malaysia and Indonesia will do battle for gold. So preparing to get up and onto the track. Now, Chan will be the starter and will be first across the line and then break off. An opportunity for Tana Joy Lu to complete the 500-meter track. 250 meters for Chan. Emma Chan, she's had a bit of tough luck building up to previous SEA Games. She had a car accident 3 months before the 2013 SEA Games. She then found herself battling with chronic fatigue syndrome. 2015, took a year off last year effectively, but has recovered. She's living and training in Australia these days. She goes on the inside for Singapore. My side is former triathlete. Joy Lu, solid cyclist, just over 10 seconds before the start. So Thailand and Singapore to do battle here for the team sprint bronze for women. It's not the fastest of starts from Emma Chan. Going out in front though, Vinay Razi for Thailand, looking to break cleanly. Now she'll break away as she gets to the line, just peels off as she crosses the line. For Singapore, it'll be Emma Chan to peel off, and Singapore finding themselves in a promising position at the moment. A little break from Joy Lu, looking to get across this finish line as quickly as possible here in Thailand. Will cross for the bronze. Two lamps for Batria. I'm happy to take that bronze medal for Thailand. Back to the call area, just try to cool down. The cyclists from both camps, Thailand and Singapore. And the Chancellor has one event to go tonight. For Singapore, and Razi finding themselves done, but they've done enough. Team sprint for women, the race for gold. Malaysia again will be going for the gold as they take on Indonesia. Malaysia and Indonesia doing battle for the gold. Malaysia firm favourites. Karina Shawati Adnan and Fatima Mustafa will take on Krismonte Dwi Putri and Katri Kusumo of Indonesia. This is Adnan and Mustafa for Malaysia. A handful of seconds to go ahead of the start. Off they go. Good start for Malaysia. Very good start. And that's exactly what they needed. These two rider teams would go over 2 laps from opposite sides of the track again. Indonesia pushing hard here for the gold medal. But in this race for gold, Malaysia are the team to beat. It's very tight at the moment. There's not much separating them. With 250 meters gone of this track, 500 meters to cover. And a grand lap here, there's screams, there's shouts, there's all sorts of crowd support for the Malaysians. Can they cross the finish line first, and comfortably so in the end? A very, very, very strong back end by Fatia Mustafa, claims the gold for Malaysia, and they've got the double. Men's and women's team sprint titles go to the home team. Malaysia #1, says Mustafa, sticks a finger in the air. Adnan collects a Malaysian flag and will celebrate this entire velodrome virtually. This new national velodrome that was brand new and purpose-built for this competition in anticipation of Malaysian success, and it's come fantastically. It's virtually all the cycling competitions. Strong Malaysian contingent doing battle at the velodrome. Nearly an embarrassing moment. Managed to hold on to the bike, but Team Malaysia, joy and smiles, celebrations. And so far, it's been a fantastic evening for Malaysia. Leading overall in the Omnium for women. Golds in the men's and women's team sprints. Desperately trying to take selfies with the competitors, with the victorious competitors. Fans, dignitaries, after the family have had their opportunity to congratulate the victorious cyclists. Well, it was close after 250 meters. Indonesia certainly stuck with it very nicely. Strong start for Dwi Putri and Kusuma, but then the little breakaway, Kusuma just couldn't hold it in the back end. Mustafa stepped it up and brought Malaysia the gold. Virtually nothing separating the teams at the halfway mark. Malaysia coming into their own on the final lap. A little bit of team effort required to carry the flag around. Malaysia are gold medalists in the women's team sprint as well as the men's team sprint. This is the victorious duo for women, 3 men. 3 men and 2 women teams. Indonesia take a fine silver, take nothing away from Dwi Putri and Kusuma. Being applauded for their efforts. They did the hard part, get through to the race for gold, weren't able to finish on the highest of highs. Find that gold, but they do have a silver for Indonesian cycling. Confirmation then of the results. Malaysia comfortably in front at 34.671, claiming the gold ahead of Indonesia, 35.211. Thailand snatched the bronze medal, 36.213, as Singapore miss out, posting just over 42 seconds.
Acara Ladies and gentlemen, right after the victory ceremony, we will have the point race for women. Point race is round 4 or round 4 of the Omnium race. In this race, the sprint lap is for every 10 laps, meaning after 10 laps there will be the sprint where the riders will collect points. The first 4 riders to cross the finishing line, starting with the first rider, will get 5 points. Second rider will get 3 points, third rider 2 points, and the fourth rider 1 point. And the rider who accumulates the highest total number of points at the end of the race will be the winner. But since the point race is part 4 or round 4 in Omnium category, means that the 3 without people without Omnium category to remain who will be the gold, silver, and bronze medal. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, berikut adalah keputusan rasmi bagi tim sprint wanita. Here are the results of each wanita Bintang Cluster bronze medal goes to Thailand with a time of 36.21 seconds. Bintang Perak silver medal goes to Indonesia with a time of 25
This is the victory ceremony for the women's team sprint. Bronze medals awarded to Thailand in the team sprint for women.
Batria, Chanipon, Razi and Chanipon Batria rather. Receiving their bronze medals. Slipping it over their own necks. From former Prime Minister of Malaysia, Ahmed Badawi.
Silver medalist, Indonesia.
Indonesia battled hard. There was very little in it in the race for gold. Krismonto Dwi Putri and Sandra Tri Kusuma. Found themselves in very good position after the first lap, but they just couldn't hold on. Far too strong. The Malaysians, Kusuma just missing out. Posting a quick enough 35.2.11. Scots from the former Malaysian Prime Minister.
The gold medalist.
A very proud moment for the gold medalists to do it in front of their home fans. It's a Malaysian tactic, this is. A little bit of high jump of their own. They spring up onto the top tier of this podium. Oh. An opportunity to place the medal around her own teammate's neck. But Mustafa clearly has a sense of humour about the situation. Karina Shawati Adnan and Fatia Mustafa, gold medalists in the women's team sprint for Malaysia. And now for the national anthem of Malaysia. Another team cycling gold for Malaysia. And they call up the bronze and silver medalists to join them on the top tier as they pose in photograph 1, 2 and 3. Thailand with the bronze, Indonesia with the silver. And a fantastic run from Adnan and Mustafa. See them claim gold, 34.671 in the women's team sprint.
results of the elimination, which is the third event, the women's track Omnium. We're up now. Scored 0 and is 72. But overall, there's a joint top position for Montana, for Somnet, who's among the favourites certainly. Manipan looked really good. She's actually won the last two events number 2 and 3, the tempo and the elimination, but she finished only 4th best in the scratch. What we have is the endurance races and the sprinters separated, so at the fence. And some of the more endurance races lining up. Dana and Manipan starting at the top though. So 6 cyclists are left. Priyantna will not be racing. So the 6 remaining cyclists competing for the 3 medals in this women's Omnium. Now this is the point race over 20 kilometers. It'll see the cyclists do 80 laps of this velodrome track from a flying start as the starter's gun goes. Now, effectively how things are going to work for these cyclists. They're going to be sitting back in the pack just a little bit. There'll be a little bit of bunching going on, particularly from the sprinters. They'll tend to stick behind. You'll see cyclists constantly looking over their shoulders. Some will be riding high on the bank of the velodrome. Others might make a break for it. The simple reason is there's a little break on the inside, but it's nothing more than a taunt to the opponents. Going high again. The points race is a sprint held every few laps, with points ranging from 5 down to 1 for the cyclists finishing in reverse order over the finish line at every lap. You'll see the pace will suddenly pick up. There is an opportunity though for any rider that laps the main field to gain an additional 20 points. So nobody eliminated in this race, but it's an opportunity for somebody to break just on the inside every so often and gain additional points. So this can be a very slow and tactical race. It can also be a very fast and exciting race depending on the field that is gathered. You can see the sprinters just conserving their energy from the back and will wait for the front bunch to go. But if there is a break, and indeed somebody like Pang who's capable of lapping some of the cyclists in this group might just make a break for it and try to gain herself an additional 20 points. She's currently joint first at the moment, Somnet, Pang's teammate, and Montana of Thailand. So the two will be watching each other like a hawk. Pang though, so to put in a good performance, because it's no longer just a case of first place winning 40 points, second place 38, third place 36, and so on down the field. Instead now, it's an opportunity to gain an additional 20 points. These 3 cyclists look to be teaming up and going for it. So we might just try to make a break. So Singapore's Dona Chan, also in their front group. They don't look like they're really going for a sprint, but they are putting themselves in a position near the front where they'll be able to challenge for more points come the sprint times. So Pang currently ahead of Chan, Pang of Malaysia. And Thailand's Dana on 114 points after 3 events, and Malaysia's Somnet on 114 points after 3 events currently lead. So when there was an initial break, the field was just drawn back in. And now, the sprint going on. Luo Yiwen of Singapore, very consistent in the opening few. So now the bell ringing, and whoever crosses the finish line top will gain the points. So 71 laps to go, but whoever gets to the finish line here is going to gain the first set of points on offer in this points race. It will be marked down by the commissars who are at the line, so it is going to be, oh, it looks like it's Luo Yue of Singapore just manages to hold on to the points ahead of Somnet. Either way, they've got the top 2 points in the opening score of this points elimination. It'll slow down now considerably for the next 9 laps or so. As the sprinters try to get themselves to conserve a little energy. Working in tandem, slowing things down and taking it in turns. And the team instructions as well, just slow things down. But Nuntana of Thailand and Somnet of Malaysia currently locked at 114 points going into this points elimination, points race rather. So the scratch was the first event of the women's Omnium, the first event of 4, and then a tempo race, the second event, followed by the elimination, which is a miss and out format, or it's more familiar to track cyclists, the devil race. The last person in the race eliminated from the back of the field. So the saying goes, the devil will catch you. It's more commonly called a miss and out. And then this point race to finish. Omnium is effectively a race that tests the best overall cyclist. No such thing as somebody who's a great sprinter being able to dominate. And Omnium is a combination of 4 disciplines. And in this the women's race, you might argue that it's the Jill of all trades. And it claims the title rather than a specialist in any one individual event. A little chase coming on here from Somnet. There's one cyclist breakaway. It's not far enough to threaten getting into a 20-point gap, but certainly there is some closing now coming from the field as they edge towards the sprint. Collection of points is still very much on. Now, Singapore's Luo Yue is looking very good, but she's a little off the pace in terms of the title overall. Manipan of Thailand on 104 points after 3 events, needing to try to close down the gap on Nuntana, her compatriot, who has 114 points at the top, along with Somnet. So just trying to watch the races around her. This is 1 lap to go until the points will be on the cards again. Now, is she going to break early? It's very difficult to try to stay out in front. Get some pace off the bank as well. Well, Manipan going for the points again. So Luo Yue doesn't get the points on this lap. Certainly not the top points, but they'll be added up by the commissaires at the end of the 80 laps. Maybe a final points tally for all the cyclists and then be added to their overall tallies. As things stood after the opening 3 competitions, the scratch over 7.5 kilometers, the tempo was 7.5, and the elimination, it was Nuntana and Somnet of Thailand and Malaysia respectively. They found themselves on 114 points overall. They lead the way. They're currently fighting for that gold medal position. Manipan of Thailand needing to make up 10 points if she can, to see if she can leapfrog both her compatriot and her opponent on 104 points. Luo Yue of Singapore, 98 for her. So she's feeling like she's in with a chance of a medal here, because if she can improve in 6 points over Manipan, even if she can't catch Nuntana and Somnet, she can work her way into the middle positions. And then Pang of Malaysia, currently 5th overall, 94 points. Dana Chan on 90. Priyatna went out in the elimination, and no points for Priyatna, who's not involved in this 4th and final discipline of the Omnium. Now, you might notice the team members, the coaches on the inside on this velodrome, constantly screaming instructions. They'll be screaming out instructions on how far the cyclists are leading by, what sort of tactics to employ, and various other details and bits of information to the cyclists so that they can be aware of their surroundings without necessarily having to constantly glance over their shoulders. And Yue of Singapore is putting in a decent fight here. She's a very, very solid time trialist. She is earlier this year both the road race champion and the time trial champion of Singapore. So this is the kind of race that would suit her quite well. The endurance events suit the road cyclists well, but you might see the more track sprinters tend to be a little more of the more muscularly built riders. Now, there is an opportunity here for the leaders here to lap the field, which would be the remaining 3 cyclists, sprinters who don't want to be caught, and an additional 20 points on the cards for all 3 if they can pass these cyclists. And all the tactics dictate. Well, at the moment, this sprint lap is turning into rather an intriguing setup because any one of the 6 is really challenging. Is Yue going to take the points? No, she doesn't. On this occasion, there's a little sprint from Luntana, the current leader overall of Thailand. So every 10 laps, points are scored. In this points race, and the points are scored by crossing the start-finish line, 1st, 2nd, 3rd or 4th. Combination of those points then tallied up at the end of the 4th and then added to the overall tally so far. So all in a bit of a bunch now. And every so often you'll see a rider threatening to lap the main field. Riders, the stronger riders, can take up positions and try to go on their own, but every now and then there'll be a group of riders. Yue in 4th position overall in this women's Omnium and trying to set herself up for further points. She's been gaining regular points in the sprints, the sprint laps, which will bode well for her as she tries to leapfrog her way into the medal standings. Very fit athlete is the 27-year-old Yue. The aim here is to be the rider with the most points come the end of the events. The Singaporean team just telling Yue to break away from the front so she peels off. You want the teamwork, you want different cyclists to be taking the lead as they've all done in a bunch now rather than seeing any cyclists break away. And sprinters enjoy lining up for the point races. Enjoy sitting near the back and then trying to go for the line with a bit of a dart. Can be energy sapping though when you consider that this is already the 4th event in one day for some of these cyclists. For others, like Anna Chan, she's already competed in 6 races today, including the preliminaries and finals of the team sprints, where she was unfortunate to finish 4th overall. Just missing out in the race for bronze. And having completed not only the preliminaries and medal race of the team sprint, she had to complete the scratch, the tempo and the elimination of this Omnium, and now in the 20-kilometer points race. In terms of distances cycled, this is well short of what you would possibly do in a training day, but the intensity is far higher. And when you're demanding your best, it's not ideal to be racing consistently throughout. And a fine effort nonetheless. A teammate though, Yue, after finishing with 30 points from the opening 2 events, and each of them went for 60 and then finished second overall in the elimination and got herself up into 4th place overall, and now going to go for a few sprints. She leads again into the sprint lap. Can she hold it on the line? The last 2 efforts she's been leading in the sprint lap and hasn't managed to hold on to the lead as she got to the line. A little bit of a slingshot action going around the outside here from the Thai cyclist, but again very close at the line. The commissars will be marking those. They'll go back to video evidence if required to try to split the cyclists and award the points accordingly. Liu Yue is constantly giving herself points, just racking up some points. But the Malaysians and Thai cyclists are working in real combination here. Manipat is battling ahead of Liu Yue because she's trying desperately to keep Liu Yue from claiming a medal. Manipan currently in 3rd overall, 6 points going into this event, ahead of Liu Yue for Malaysia. Pang also fighting hard to shift up the group, but it is Somnet who leads overall in the Omnium. Nuntana of Thailand, all level on 114 points. They're both level on 114 points. So 37 laps to go of this 80-lap race, 20-kilometer points race that is not about speed. It's simply about speed on the sprint lap. Who gets to the line first? And that is the only aspect of this race you really need to consider, and that is where the cyclists collect their points. And again, we're not really seeing any break from the cyclists to try to lap the group. Instead, there's a constant threat to pull away and then allow the field to catch back up. The sprinters trying to gain some points on the sprint laps every 10 laps. Going high again, just want to change the lead. It's a case of being ever watchful as well for all the cyclists. There have been some very nasty crashes, particularly with the cyclists trying to pick up speed. If you go too slowly there, your bike slides down this hardwood floor. It's difficult to keep the bike controlled on the hardwood track when you are going at a slower rate. And sometimes the wheel just glides out from under the cyclist. It can take out cyclists on the inside of the track. So they're keeping it at a steady enough pace. And the cyclists sometimes coming off the bank and trying to dart on the inside from high on the bank to take out the rear wheels of an opponent, and that can cause some serious damage. But very slow again. Sitting on the front at the moment is Dina Chan. And now peeling off, allowing Liu Yue to try to get in for more points on the sprint. Trying to set up the sprinters here. Liu Yue only sitting in 2nd position now for this sprint. So we'll pick up points if she can get there to that line first. Two Thai athletes tucked in behind her. And there'll be a little bit of a charge again. So Dina Chan happy to allow Liu Yue to try to fight for points in this points race. Manipan just behind her. So Liu Yue needs to make up the 6 points difference between her and 3rd place Manipan if she is to get herself into the medals with this accumulation of points in the points race. And finishing top in the points race to the line with every sprint. Claim 5 points and get yourself a 2-point advantage over cyclist that finishes 2nd. Cyclists in this main field now. Teamwork being done. Dina Chan trying to help her teammate to a little glory here. The Thai cyclists working very well in tandem with one another and controlling this race for each other, Nuntana and Manipan. The Malaysians usually are the team that are renowned for their teamwork and team ethic. And good from Dinah Chan as well, just helping Lua Yue and supporting her in any way she can. She's leading out now again in the laps of this velodrome between the sprint lap. Holding on to the back end is Somnet, on the opposite side of the track virtually. So as it stands, at the moment it is Dinah Chan ahead of Lua Yue, Nuntana and Manipan of Thailand, third and fourth, with Somnet on the level with Nuntana at the top of the standings. Just over her shoulder and being ever watchful. Lua Yue again. Thought about going into the lead, but allowed the Thai cyclist Nuntana to go on her inside, who now breaks high and allows Lua Yue to take the lead. There's a few more instructions from Team Singapore. Chan on the inside will take the lead for a lap or two perhaps. Just take some of the pressure off the chasing pack. And slipstream in cycling, this is a too slow a pace for them to genuinely be slipstreaming here. Nearly a collision of wheels as they broke high, just following one another. For crossing the finish line first, second, third and fourth in this points race. And again the sprint is on. Lua Yue is looking a little out of this one, but can she come on the inside? That's a 1-2-3. One of the two Thai sprinters and indeed the Malaysian as well, Somnet. Lua Yue has been in the top two with virtually every sprint in this points race so far. Handy position, but this time losing out on potential points. Tries to make up in that fourth place. But Nuntana and Somnet battling for the gold medal as well. An intriguing battle between the two, having both claimed 114 points. Somnet has been fairly consistent. She finished first in the scratch, second in the tempo, and third in the elimination. Give her 114 points after 3 events, with 40 points awarded to the winner, 38 to second place, 36 to third place, and so on and so forth down the field. And for Nuntana, while she finished fourth overall in the opening event for a handy tally of 34 points, she subsequently won the tempo and won the elimination. So while she has more victories in the individual events, and she doesn't have more points than her opponent. They are level on 114, but they're 10 clear of anyone else in the field. The next best is Manipan. At the moment, just sitting in a very handy position. Two Malaysians at the front, two Singaporean cyclists. Just tucked in at the back, but Lua Yue and Gina Chow tucking themselves into the middle of this bunch. So no frantic pace about this race. There's nobody going for that extra 20 points. It's just about accumulating points slowly but surely. And trying to take note of where your closest competitors are. So the real battle is for gold and for bronze. Those are the two contests. The gold between Somnet and Nuntana, and the bronze between Manipan and Lua Yue. I believe the Singaporean lying fourth behind Manipan of Thailand. His compatriot Untana is level with Somnet at the top. And this is just really bunching up now. Can tell you that Priyatna of Indonesia, after 3 events, is out of this points race, out of this Omnium. So no chance of a medal for the Indonesian. Medals to come from any one of these 3 nations, Malaysia, Singapore and Thailand. Malaysia and Thailand both challenging for a gold. Thailand and Singapore challenging for a bronze. It would have been additionally difficult for Priyatna of Indonesia, having to cycle on her own without a teammate in this Omnium. Certainly in this points race, where teamwork can be vital. We'll see how Diana Chan has managed to try to control this race for Liu Yue, particularly in the first half of the 80 laps that will be completed by these women. So coming up for the sprint lap now. Chow on the inside, just trying to clear the way for her compatriot to take a sprint to the line, but coming up on the outside, there's a very strong attack from Thailand. And trying to take points away from the Thai sprinters. It's not going to happen here. Chow will take third over that line. But a great sprint from Manipat, and Somnet just behind her. Dana left a little behind on that play. Liu Yue now picks up the pace slightly. This is not near the sprint lap, so what she's trying to do maybe is just take a little energy away from the cyclist behind her. It's a highly tactical race. Track cycling in general is highly tactical. Thailand, inside and outside, surrounding Somnet, the current race leader or joint leader on 114 points with Untana and Manipan. Those 3, the top 3 at the moment, but still Liu Yue, if she can claim an accumulation of points late on in this points race. Well, perhaps there is a bronze medal in the offing for the Singaporean. It'll all have been calculated by the commissars. 1 sprint race to go. 1 points tally up for grabs. Whose is it going to be? It's such great teamwork though from all 3 of the countries represented. Malaysia with Pang and Somnet, Liu and Chan for Singapore, and Untana and Manipan for Thailand. Diana Chow, it's just amazing comeback from her, 31-year-old. Living and training in Australia with Sarah Currigan, the 2004 Olympic champion for Australia. She's just come off what she described as a rehab year after this chronic fatigue syndrome got the better of her in 2015. She still managed to come away with a bronze medal. She was in agony. And the champ, who in 2013 broke Singapore's 16-year gold medal drought for a cycling gold. She's recently switched to track from road cycling. Now trying to help the current road race and time trial champion of Singapore, Liu Yue, a possible bronze medal. She competed in the Women's Tour of Thailand earlier this year, did Liu Yue. It's the 2 Thai cyclists looking well set. They look like they've done just enough to keep themselves in the medals. 2 Thai cyclists in the top 3 places would be a decidedly positive result for Thailand. And Malaysia were expected to dominate. Liu Yue is still challenging here with the black helmet in behind Diana Chow. Makes a dart for the inside now. She wants to finish strong. It'll be a tough ask to try to finish this on top for Liu Yue. 2 laps to go. That's a good 500 meters of sprinting around this velodrome track. But a last opportunity to collect points for these cyclists. Who wants to finish on a high? So coming up to the bell, coming up to the end of this Omnium, and trying to lead out is Malaysia's Somnet, the overall leader, and she's got herself into a fantastic position. She's going to cross the line first. She'll pick up the final points on offer in this sprint lap and completes the 80 laps with the highest of the points tallies from that sprint. The commissars will gather all the cumulative points, they will tally them up, and then they will add them to the overall scores from the first three events, the scratch, the tempo and the elimination, and then there will be gold, silver and bronze awarded. And I fear, despite a valiant effort, particularly in the first half of the race by Lua Yue, that Thailand's Manipan has done just enough to hold on to the medals, and that Undana and Somnet between them will share gold and silver. Somnet would have calculated what she needed to do in this points race to try to claim the gold medal for Malaysia. Well, Somnet, she will have done her sums. But Thailand can celebrate. The way they've performed as a team was outstanding throughout this race. Undana and Manipan, they worked for each other throughout, and they gained a collection of points undoubtedly, and they will celebrate. Sums being done as well by the Thais, perhaps. Undana's actually gone on to claim the gold. It'll be revealed soon enough. She's celebrating a medal regardless. Well, being consoled, that tells the story. Manipan, as the sprinter, has come out clearly on top in this points race to the end. She was battling hard with Lua Yue in the early stages. So Thailand celebrating a very strong performance in this women's Omnium. And Singapore can both celebrate. They've done themselves proud in this Omnium. It's a fine, fine ride from both women, Dina Chan and Lua Yue. Always delighted completing such a tough set of races, and also completely different, which test the overall strength of a cyclist. No specialists. It's about the best overall cyclist. Those tend to suit the endurance cyclists a little more than some of the sprinters, but some glory to be had for the sprinters. Trying to fly the Thai flag high here, the two Thai cyclists. It tells the story. Undana and Manipan. Manipan on the left, 99. Undana, 97 for Thailand. We're enjoying a victory lap here. This is how they all got underway in this points race. The points race is not about the start or where you finish. It's about where you cross the line and which position you cross the line in every 10 laps. And what is a sprint lap? That gathers you points. So overall, points tallies have been conducted, and Luo Yue with 63 points overall. That's a fantastic return, but she's 3 short of Manipan, who collects 60. That's a fantastic return, really, for Luo Yue. And now, a little bit of a jump up. So, Luo Yue, after 4 events, with that phenomenal points tally, has actually got herself into silver medal position here. Somnet misses out on the gold that she was challenging for, lost it completely. Manipan, completely dominant. So Somnet and Nuntana were battling for the gold, failed to pick up the points required, and a splendid combination. Manipan and Luo, they were battling for the bronze between them, and they both managed to work their way up into the gold and silver medal positions. Luo Yue, really, what credit to Nana Chan and Juthatip Manipan. Real credit's got to go to Supukskon, Nuntana, and a teammate that was leading after 3 rounds. So Singaporean silver in the Omnium. Fantastic result. But Manipan of Thailand doing just enough to keep Luo Yue at bay. 2 were collecting points at regular intervals, battling one another hard. So next up is the victory ceremony for the women's Omnium.
Bingan Vera. Silver medal goes to Singapore. Melalui Dio. Dengan ketinggian 161 meter. Total 161 points. Gold medal at SEA Games champion goes to Thailand. Untitled Chapter. With a total 154 Congratulations to the winners. Team managers, kindly ensure that your riders or the winners are ready for the award ceremony. Raja kepada pemerintah mohon kerjasama untuk memastikan semua pemenang-pemenang bersedia untuk acara penyampaian hadiah. Jika kita jumpa pada esok hari, acara pertama akan dijalankan pada jam 2 petang di Gedung Nasional Nilai 9. It will be the game tomorrow. Next will be the ceremony and the event tomorrow will start at 2 p.m. at National Gedung Nilai 9. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
victory ceremony for the women's Omnium. She looked broken at the end of the final event, the points race, over 20 kilometers, 80 laps on this velodrome. Came home after leading, following 3 events. In 3rd position overall, she accumulated 24 points in the points race. It was 3rd best points tally overall. Secured by Somnet, surpassed by silver and bronze medalists in the points race.
Singapore, represented by
27-year-old Liu Yiwei. A phenomenal effort in the points race, the final event. Trying desperately to overhaul Jutadip Manipat, but 63 points, a splendid effort in the points race. Top overall, claims the silver medal, coming from behind, lying 4th after 3 events, 2nd after 4. But the victor did what she needed to do. She stuck on the wheel of Liu Yiwei for much of it, and in the closing laps was gaining more points, garnering more points. In the end, 60 points in the final point race, over 20 kilometers. 3 fewer than Liu Yiwei, but she had a 6-point lead on the Singaporean going into the final event. Claims gold with 164 points in total in Omnium, ahead of Liu Yiwei with 161, while Somnet to Malaysia at 138 overall, the champion from Thailand. Her 3rd gold medal of the Southeast Asian Games over the years, her first coming back in the road race in 2009. For cyclists who once competed in Europe, riding for a European professional team. It's a splendid gold medal. Former triathlete of Singapore, Liu Yiwei, collects the silver medal, and proudly so, after a magnificent performance in the 20-kilometer points race, and bronze to the home favourite, Somnet of Malaysia.
And also, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank our distinguished guests, General Al-Qasri, representing the